Hey, I'm Dean and this is Legacy Voyage. In Season 1, I'm documenting my journey to earning my first 100K net worth as a full-time college student. Join me as I share some of the lessons I learned along the way. 7 months ago, I had a thriving startup, We Are Nesian. Last month, honestly, in January, I decided to kill it. In this episode, I'm going to go through my decision-making thought process and the overarching story of how I built and eventually came to wind down We Are Nesian. As a quick snapshot, coming out of Jumpstart, this was coming out of the summer, kind of in September-ish, I had 10K in funding from the program. I had 12K ARR, that's annual recurring revenue, so every single year I would get $12,000. And there was a clear path to 100,000 ARR. But I finally decided to pull the plug. And honestly, if you've been listening to the past couple episodes, probably shouldn't be too much of a surprise. I've been kind of hinting at it. And for a while, it's kind of been on the back burner. So finally being able to make that decision, make the announcement, and the official post of how I'm going to do things from now on and what direction I'm going in. I kind of spent this past weekend going over it. And so that was really cool. I wrote out this whole article, blog post type thing, talking about the story behind it. So I just want to go through it because I think it's honestly super valuable. One thing, and I really do believe this, writing is pretty equivalent to thinking. When I write something, it helps me think through a lot. And so that was pretty helpful. But there are kind of 4 sections to this. The first one is how I built the startup, how I built We Are Nesian. And then the second one is kind of all the reasons why I'm winding it down. The third is what I learned from the whole process, the whole journey. And the fourth is looking to the future, what I'm going to do now. Now, taking you back to, or honestly, I think I can probably go back to the podcast, my very first one, where I started this whole journey, this whole crazy journey. But coming to college, I was 17, super naive. There were 3 things that were true. First, I was broke. I did not have any type of money. The second one is that I wanted money. I wanted to, do things with the money. And the third is that I didn't want a waste time job. And this is kind of true. I think the first 2 parts are true for a lot of college students. A lot of us, we're broke, don't have money, especially if you don't come from a well-off background. And the second part is that we want money. But usually the way most college students go about it is they go pick up, some shift at the cafeteria or library or any one of those easy desk jobs where they can just grab some quick cash, put in a couple hours, and then boom, off to the races. But I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to spend time on something where I wouldn't grow or where I wouldn't learn. So I decided instead of getting a waste time job, I'm going to try to do something. And the summer before going into college, that thing was building websites. I did it a little bit in high school. I built super, super ugly websites. This was all in HTML, CSS, in the straight up code. That's how I was building websites. Came to learn that wasn't really the best way of building websites. So I decided, you know what? I'll get a course, learn how to build websites, and then I'll charge people to build websites. Perfect. Off to the races. So then I made progress. By then I was, a couple months had passed, turned 18. I had the business, the LLC, the name, Polytaps. I had a little website for that. And then I made a website for my uncle. It was a really bad website. I don't think he was happy with it because a couple months after I built that original ugly website, he found someone else to build it for him. So yeah, lesson learned on that one. But fail forward. And it was in college where I started networking. I found out about LinkedIn and I started going on it, looked up some poly last names, found some cool people, connected with them, hopped on calls. But there was this one dude in particular, name is Coach V. And immediately we just hit it off. Phone call went well. He knew about Northwestern, super impressed by my background, even though I literally had 0 credentials. And I don't know why, but he really believed in me. And he was willing to give me a shot. So I started working on all his marketing stuff, even though, bro, I literally had 0 experience with any of that stuff. But I started reading all the books, got into Russell Brunson, all his stuff, learned about ClickFunnels and Go High Level, and bought a whole bunch of things using his money, which was super helpful. I bought like $1,000 course with his money. I bought the software with his money. So although he didn't pay me, he kind of did in terms of the learning, because I got all these courses and I got the software to use the thing, and I got real world experience by actually putting it into practice. So that was super valuable. And during this whole process, it honestly was a while, probably like a year or two into working with Coach V, where I started making more frequent LinkedIn posts. But specifically, I made a LinkedIn post talking about, man, that's crazy, I'm remembering it now. Talking about Oh Boys Golf. It's like some poly golfers who were in Steph Curry's tournament or whatever. And that post literally blew up. It got like close to 200 reactions on LinkedIn. And to put that into perspective, I probably got, let's say, 3-4 reactions on average for LinkedIn posts. So immediately when I saw that, I was like, oh dang, there might be something here. So I think within the same day or two, I built a landing page. I made a little thing called Ninja News. And this was the start of the second business. So the first one was this digital marketing agency. The second one was this thing called Ninja News. And it was a newsletter for Pacific Islanders. It's kind of like, I don't know, aggregating success stories, and I would post about it on all the media sites. Kind of like the original post, I got almost 200 reactions. I was like, dang, that's impressive. So with that landing page and that single LinkedIn post, I decided to apply to the Garage. And the Garage, just for some more context, is the entrepreneurship club on campus. And I tried applying to it freshman year with Polytaps, the marketing agency. Didn't get like even a first little interview, but I applied to it with Ninja News. And some of the questions they asked is like, okay, what's your traction? What's the most impressive thing you've done? Who's on the team? Who are your co-founders? Questions like that. Bro, I literally BS'd the whole thing. It was so bad. First of all, there was like zero traction. At the very least, I had a website, so that was something to like, I could link to. But the website was like a template that I found off somewhere. Replaced the thing with Ninja News and then called it a day. Boom. Off to the races. And then one of the questions, talking about traction, I literally hadn't built anything, but what I did have was that single LinkedIn post. So I decided, you know what, I'm gonna try to like make it as fancy as possible. So that LinkedIn post got like something 10,000 or close to it impressions. So I talked about that, you know, oh, okay, we have all these reactions, all these impressions on social media. Like, this is the start. We already have X number of email subscribers, which I think was literally in the single digits. And then the final question was asking about who else is on the team. Because one of their requirements, or at least one of their big recommendations, is to have a co-founder, at least one co-founder. The only problem is that I was on this myself. I was literally like a week into the whole project. So I decided, you know what, I'll just put some random person's name. I put my rugby captain's name, like, okay, he's Indonesian, that's close enough. There's Indonesians in the thing, call it a day. And then maybe if I get in, then I could like talk to him about it, convince him to join me, call it a day, then bam, off to the races. So I'm on campus, eventually got into the interview, headed off with my boy Brylan, and that was that. I was into the Garage. And of course, as I went into there, I made a ton of mistakes, like ton of first-time founder mistakes. I think the biggest, most obvious one is that I brought on too many people. Like, I literally did not have any type of filter for who I brought onto the team. Like, if they could breathe, they were on my team. So I remember they had like this startup matchmaking thing, which is this Zoom meeting, all the startups, they pitch their thing, and then people who want to join the startup join the personal Zoom room, and then they can get recruited onto the startup. It's a really good idea, and honestly, it is really good. But for me, my first time doing it, these two people came to my Zoom room. 2 people later, like, replied on email, talking about they're interested, and I was like, oh yes, you're in. No type of interview process, no type of like questions or filters or any of that. I was like, yep, you're in. Eventually I found out that's probably not the best thing to do. Like I should probably try to filter it out at least a little bit. But that was one of those early mistakes I had. But through the whole process, like it felt legit. I felt like I was actually doing something. Like the marketing agency was kind of like a side thing. I didn't really talk to anyone about it because I didn't have a team. And it wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't really legit. But this thing, it was actually legit. Like I was in the garage, I had a whole team, we had a whole like workspace in Notion that we would work out of. Everything was coming together. And so I decided to apply to the summer program. And the summer program at the garage is called Jumpstart, what I was talking about earlier. They give 10 teams, 10K, they go full-time into the startup. Super simple deal. At the end of those 10 weeks, they show the progress they made for another chance to win 10K. And just like the way I originally applied to the garage with no type of preparation or anything, like basically BS the whole thing, that's exactly what I did for Jumpstart. BS the whole application. And as the final filter, they have this pitch that you have to put together. And it's the same way if you went to raise from VCs, try to raise money. Like it's the same type of pitch. You explain your business model and how that person would make a return on investment. The only problem is that I walked into the pitch meeting with zero preparation. When I say zero, I mean like literally nothing. 30 minutes before I walked in, I pulled up an AI presentation maker, told it to make me a pitch deck, and I was like, bam, off to the races. I had this pitch deck, didn't even go through it once, didn't really think about the content that was actually in it. Literally, as I was in that pitch, I was reading it off of the slides for the very, very first time. So you already know, bro, it was scuffed. Like super scuffed. And the cool part about this entire story, you can listen back, and I actually did the other day. I listened back to what it felt like after I gave that presentation, because I did a brief like mention of it. And I just talked about how it was just so bad. Like I talked about how even if I get through, I would feel so bad because of how little time, energy, and effort I put into it. Because as I was going into it, I didn't even think about the business model. I didn't think about how to actually make money. So instead of just like giving me the okay like they did for all the other startups I got through, they told me I needed to make $1,000. That was the challenge they gave me. If I could make $1,000 with the startup, then I'm in Jumpstart. So I put my head down and I got to work. I was like brainstorming a whole bunch of different ways I could do this. I came up with a couple ideas, but oh yeah, I forgot to mention. I think one of the big reasons why they did give me a shot was because I spent like literally 12-hour work days at the garage. So they saw the garage. I was there before they were at like 8 a.m. and I left at like 8 or 9 p.m. Sometimes till 10. And I think they just recognized that I put in so much time. And although like I'll admit it wasn't just for the startup, I was doing like 3 other internships at the time. But I think they recognized that. Like here I was trying to balance everything, trying to balance the startup, trying to balance all my classes, along with the 3 internships, along with rugby, like there's all this stuff. And so I think that was one of the reasons they gave me a shot, just for like my pure grit that I put into it. So with that in mind, came up with a couple ideas to make money. It's like, okay, guys, it's time to actually make money. One of those ways was Google AdSense. If you go to any type of website, not any website, but most like news media websites, they'll have ads pop up. One of the easiest ways to get those ads to pop up and get paid for it is with Google AdSense. The second one was like a paid community for Nesian founders. So that's where I made Nesian Nexus. This was an interesting thing I tried to do. So it was basically the Slack channel because I connected with a whole bunch of Nesian Pacific Islander founders. I was like, hey, give me $100 and I'll add you to the Slack channel. You'll get to meet and network, like connect with all the people who's there. And plus, we're planning an event coming up. It was like some rugby game. And originally, bro, I hopped on a ton of calls, but originally I had around like 8 8 to 10 people. I don't remember the exact number. I'm pretty sure it was 10 because I kept saying 10. But there were 10 founders that confirmed they were going. Like, yes, I'll be there, definitely. Come the day of the event, I flew out from here in Evanston, where I'm at right now, to Utah, where all the other founders were at. I was like, hey guys, the rugby game's coming up. Okay, I bought all the tickets. Like, before the thing, I made these bucket hats with all the different logos. I think I still have that. And it was gonna be like, I had it all planned out. Low-key, only 4 people actually paid the $100 to join the Slack channel and stuff. So with that money, I think I burned through all of it to make the bucket hats and buy the tickets. But come the day of the event, one of them had a sick kid. One of them was sick themselves. One of them had like a business meeting. So only 3 people showed up. Only 3 actual founders showed up. And you could imagine how distraught I was. Like, I was there, I caught like a red-eye flight, minimal sleep, put a ton of effort, put a ton of money into this. And then come the day of the event, only 3 people show up. I'm like, man, I was cooked. But that's just part of the fail forward mindset, you know. We pushed through those, and it was on to one of the other ideas, which was niche and network. There's like a business directory, and I tried creating this to get people to sign up and pay money for it. No one was willing to sign up. Or no, I think people were willing to sign up. I got a whole bunch of signups. And when I say a whole bunch, I mean like, I don't know, 10. But in the sign up process, you're like, oh, are you willing to pay for this? They're all like, nope. So that's how you know it's cooked. Like, if people are admitting that they're not willing to pay, like, it's super cooked. Because even if they say they're willing to pay, they probably wouldn't pay. But if they say they're not willing to pay, like, they're definitely not paying nothing. So that idea was cooked. And then the final idea that secured the last $1,000, or at least the full $1,000 that I needed to complete the challenge, was from flashback to Coach V. Like, building that relationship with him, I think really paid off, because I called him up. I was like, hey, I have this challenge. I need to make $1,000. What do you think about getting an ad slot on We Are Nesian? Or at the time, it was Nesian News. And he was like, yep, I'm on board. Sign me up. So I did it. That was honestly pretty simple. He immediately said yes, came through, and we're off to the races. I get in to the challenge, get into Jumpstart, and it was a whole roller coaster. You can listen to the whole journey of it. But long story short, like, things were looking good. Like I said at the beginning of this podcast, like, we're on this clear path to 100K. So why did everything go wrong? Or well, why am I now deciding to kill it? A couple of reasons, or at least these were 3 of the big ones. The first one is that all of these business owners, bro, they were so slow to reply. Here's what my funnel looked like. The outreach that I did, I probably reached out to 400 personally, like personalized outreach, to get them to respond. And the offer that I had in there was a free website. So in my head, I was thinking, okay, this is easy. Like, free website, that's the easy, like, in the door offer. I provide some value, show them what I can do. They would say yes, I give them the website. And then I'll say, hey, you know, website is nice and all, but you also need this thing called SEO to actually get these customers and to grow organically and show up in Google search and all that stuff. Pay me $100, I'll do all of that, I'll take care of it for you. Should be good. And then from there, level that up again, saying, okay, now I'll get you even more customers. Let me do your ads. Pay me $500. Boom, $500 a month. Done. It's supposed to be an easy pitch like that, right? My funnel, I reached out to 400 people. These are small and Asian businesses. From that, I got 12 positive replies. Now, these are only including the replies that were like, hey, this is kind of interesting. Tell me more about what you can do. From that, I probably booked somewhere around like 10 to 8 like calls. And I got 4 of those people to say like, dude, I think it was more. I got at least 4. I want to say it was probably like 6 or 8 to say, yes, I'm on board, confirmed. Can you build me the website? After those calls, I would follow up again and again and again. I'd say, hey, just let me know like what colors you're thinking. Send me some ideas. Send me something so we can get this kickstarted so we can get started on building your free website. In the end, I was only able to create a single website. And that website took me, I kid you not, 15 follow-ups. I went back through this. It took me 15 follow-ups. We had 2 canceled meetings or calls, and it took 4 months. That's 4 freaking months. I think I reached out to them during the program. So this was like June, July, and I finally got the website done in like December or January. So it took 4 months. And all of that was for a free website. I was, oh my goodness. Like as I was writing that part, it was insane. Because I just remembered how much effort I put into it with like 0 upside. The second thing that happened was that I lost Coach V. Like Coach V, he was my main client and I did a ton for him. Or at least like I put a lot of focus on filling his stuff. It turns out that one of the companies that he runs, he's the president of this company called Island City. It's actually super sick what they're doing. But they're like basically the end goal of what I would have wanted Ninja News to be, or the media company to be. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. Through Jumpstart, I decided to like combine everything that I was doing. So the pay community, the media side, the business directory, the marketing, I just combined all of it, called it We Are Nesian. So changed Ninja News and Polytaps. Just combine all of it to We Are Nesian. And then I'm labeled it as a marketing agency for Pacific Islanders. Just to like make the whole thing a way simpler, way easier. Forgot to mention that point. But with Coach V, the company he ran called Island City, they expanded their services to include digital marketing. And so I think like this just intuitively makes sense. I can't blame him for it. But he switched over to Island City. Like, it would be weird if the president of a company was not using their own product, especially in this specific scenario. Like, I can see cases where, like, Mark Zuckerberg might not be using Facebook, even though it probably makes a lot of sense that he would be using Facebook, because he's the friggin' CEO. Like, it would be weird if Elon Musk was driving around in a Toyota. Like, that's just weird. In the same way, Coach V switched over to Island City. So I lost my main client. And the third big reason, probably the biggest reason, was that my learning was slowing down through the summer. And as I was building this whole startup, going through the whole journey, I learned so much because I was making so many mistakes. Like literally every day I'd make a mistake. I was like, okay, lesson learned, move on to the next scene. Okay, lesson learned, move on to the next scene. I was learning so much. But by the time it got into like December, January, February, like the learning just slowed down so much. Where now I was doing like all these monotonous tasks, wasn't really focusing on the high level, like how to grow the business, how to get more customers, things like that. And in the back of my mind, I had this piece of advice that was given to me by someone, I think I'd call him my first mentor. I first started interning with him. It was supposed to be like quick quarter, 10 weeks in and out, boom, done. But through that, I think he saw my potential, or at least he saw how locked in I was. And he asked me like, hey, do you want to stay on? I was like, yeah, for sure, I'll stay on. The biggest reason I stayed on was because how much he taught me. Like I learned so much from him. And it was really cool because as I was learning all those lessons about like leadership and how to build a company, I was actually implementing those ideas into building Ninja News, the startup that I was building at the time. And I asked him, I was like, hey, what do you think the road ahead is for me? Like where do you think I should go if I want to pursue this whole business thing? Because literally everyone at Northwestern, not literally everyone, but usually if you want to go the business route at Northwestern, you either go banking or you go consulting. So I was really only thinking about those two paths. And at the time, I was pretty dead set on consulting. So I went, tried it out. Turned out I didn't like it. Loki hated it. But that was a good lesson learned. And he suggested to me, Dean, look, number one piece of advice for you, especially out of undergrad, is to optimize for learning. Don't pursue the paycheck. Like, of course, private equity, consulting, like banking, all those things, they will give you a fat paycheck. But that's not where you're going to learn the most. And so he told me, go join a Series A, Series B startup where you can wear all the hats, go do sales over there, and you'll learn a ton. And with that advice at the back of my mind, I decided to do it. And so now moving forward, the idea is that I'm pulling back on the startup. Lately, I've been like learning how to code and stuff, so I'm gonna keep doing that. But I've been recruiting for a Series A or Series B startup. Right now, I'm kind of locked in for a place called Leland. It's like a coaching marketplace, but might do that one. I think I'll find out by the end of this week if I'm in for that. So it'll be cool. So it'll be in Utah if I'm able to get it. But yeah, that's kind of like the prospects. This was a little bit of a different episode. I could go into all the other things like the weekly roundup, the philosophizing section, but I think that was like the main thing, getting the story. Because I worked, low-key, I worked pretty hard, or at least I put in 6 to 7 hours of deep work into that article, like for fighting and stuff. So that was the whole story. And this podcast was more of a yap session as I was looking over the bullet notes and putting in more details about how that whole thing went down. But I'll quickly try to run through some of the other stuff that I was going to get to. The first thing is, oh yeah, the doubles of the week. These are 2 dubs and 2 L's I took since last episode. First up, like I just mentioned, final round for Leland. I have that tomorrow, I believe. Should be not too bad. And then another dub is, as I've been back on campus. Oh yeah, I haven't even given the update there. Yeah, I've been back on campus. Because I think my last episode I was in Salt Lake or Utah. But now I'm back on campus, been hanging out with friends from SF. You know, Cobb, you feel me? About to head to a dinner tonight with them. And along with that, I think I should probably mention this here. I was going to go study abroad in Australia. Decided not to do that. And that's kind of goes into my L. I lost like $600 from doing that because they require like this non-refundable deposit thing. But I decided to cancel. The big reason why is because that quarter in SF was like super, super valuable. But the biggest reason why I thought it was valuable was because of the people that I met. Like the people on that program, they had this filter being from Northwestern, this filter from being into business and entrepreneurship. And not only that, I could come back to campus and we could still like continue building those connections. So I decided to do that. And then another big L, dude, this was low-key like over the past couple days. But this weekend, I went to a rugby tournament, which is a big dub. I haven't played rugby in ages, so that was nice. But the thing was, I'm low-key sick. I low-key am a little bit sick, but it was pretty bad over the weekend. Not super, super bad, but runny nose, coughing, I had a little headache. But still, got to work, went to the tournament, caught the dub, so that was good. But coming back from the tournament, like I was still feeling a little bit sick. And on top of that, I was insanely sore. And I had all these cuts and bruises on my body. I was just like not locked in at all. So I didn't get any type of work done. And I was just like binging YouTube and anime. Oh my goodness. Till super late, like 3 in the morning. So I'm still kind of recovering from that. I think tomorrow is when I'll be able to lock in, go for a little run, be able to focus up again. But onto the philosophizing section. This one was a quick one. I think there were a couple things that I was going to mention, but the main one is this thing called, I'm naming it the Grateful Paradox. And the Grateful Paradox is basically like being grateful for things that you don't like, or being grateful for things that you even hate. An example that my friend, it came in a conversation, but my friend, he's taking this class that he hates. And his major is something he hates. He doesn't like econ. But he said that he's grateful for econ and taking those econ classes to know that he doesn't want to do it. And so it's like, it's kind of paradoxical in a way, where he's grateful for something he hates because now he knows that he hates that thing. And so I was kind of applying it for me. Summer coming into college, I worked manual labor doing like concrete contracting with my uncle. And I'm grateful for that experience because now I know I do not want to do that for the rest of my life. I work in manual labor. So that's the idea there. And then on to the weekly roundup. First thing was a quote I found. This was, I don't know, I was reading this book. The book is called 5 Types of Wealth. This is by Sahil Bloom. I really like his newsletter. It's kind of like a self-help type newsletter, and the book is a self-help book, but he talks about 5 types of wealth. And one of the quotes he has in the book that he quoted from someone else was, as you start to walk on the way appears. And this kind of connects to my last episode. I think I was talking about this, how like waiting for the perfect moment is a dumb idea, because there's never going to be that perfect moment where everything aligns, where all the stars align. And this kind of talks to that. Like, as you start to walk, then the way starts to appear, and then you kind of figure out as you go. Play by ear is the whole idea. The next question is, what's your values? The reason I asked this question, well, what are your values, is because in the book he really talks about how like there's this scoreboard in life, and usually the scoreboard is finances, like how much money do you have, because that's super easy to measure. But what Sahil did in his book is he really wanted to identify what he values. What's his scoreboard? What does he measure his life by? What does he call wealthy or success? And for him, he came up with these 5 types of wealth. For me, I came to what I talk about in my life update: my God, myself, my people, and my work. Coming back after a couple days, like 2-3 days after the last bit that I just recorded, because I was headed to a dinner. But where did I leave off? I think I left off on the life update. So quick life update. First, my God, definitely been lacking in that department in terms of like, I remember I had a conversation. I probably talked about this in the last episode, but I forgot. But I had a conversation back in Utah with my sister, and it's basically like trying to identify what I believe. Like what do I really believe? And I'm still trying to figure it out. But one of the questions that she asked me was like, hey, Dean, do you believe in the Holy Spirit? Do you believe in the Holy Ghost? And I was like, yeah, I guess I do. Because I don't know, I haven't thought too much about it, but it kind of is implied in believing in Jesus Christ, because it's like, it's one of the requirements to be Christian. It's like, you got to believe in the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit. And so I guess technically or explicitly I believe it, but implicitly I'm not sure. And so I don't know, I have to give that one more thought of where I stand in that whole department. But so today just went on a run. I think actually, yeah, I finished the entire New Testament audiobook. So maybe I'll move on to the Old Testament, and yeah, maybe I'll finish that one. But I want to do more like actual deep diving into it, like Bible study properly. So maybe I'll see where that goes, give that more attention or time or thought or whatever. But yeah, moving on to update on myself. Yeah, I think I mentioned it, but last weekend was rough. It was really rough. Like being sore from the rugby game. I was kind of sick, so I played through it anyways, and then I came back and I was still feeling a little sick. Got a little headache, and so pushed through it. But recovering from that, I was just like not doing anything. Like the most I did was I forced myself to go on a walk. And so I'm not sure if that helped, but now I'm feeling better. I just got back to running today and felt good. I did my first 10-mile run. So that was pretty awesome. I did like walk for a ton of it, like took, I don't know, 3-4 breaks through it all. But in the middle of the run, I had a call. So I guess this will kind of leak into my work, but I got a call from the startup that I've been applying to, Leland, and I got the offer. Big dub, big dub. So I don't know, the whole call was so like, it felt interesting. It felt interesting because I was on the call, right? First of all, I didn't realize that the call was in like 30 minutes. So as I was on the run, I checked my phone as I was pausing, and this was like 5-6 miles into it. I checked my phone. I was like, oh dang, he got a text, and he sent me the meeting invite. So okay, I'll set an alarm for like 30 more minutes. I'll go on a run, and I'll just like, I don't know, find a place and take the call while I'm on this run. So I finally find a place. I take the call. I'm freaking out because it's 11:30. The call is scheduled for 11:30, and I don't have the app that I need for this to download, because we're doing like Google Meets. I didn't have Google Meets on my phone. I tried to download it. It's like waiting for it to download, so I'm freaking out low-key. But everything turned out okay. As I was on this call, I was like, I already thought, like, pretty confident that I got the job, but on this call, they were like explaining to me the role and everything that I would do. And it like, I don't, maybe that's just how sales calls feel like, but they were just like selling me on joining this thing. But either way, I think it's a big dub. Instead of doing a sales role, I'm doing growth and ops. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, can't wait for that. I asked them if they could give me like some type of housing stipend because I was planning on offsetting the housing costs using the commissions because it was a sales internship. And so I got some commission from it. But I ended up with this growth and ops role, which should be sick. Either way, I think, yeah, super stoked for that. So I guess that's the biggest update on my work. In terms of my people, yeah, another big dub. The end of that last podcast, I was heading to a birthday dinner with some friends, so that was a big dub. And yeah, just getting closer with them, getting to know them more, which is, I don't know, it's always cool. I don't think, I've actually haven't thought about this, but I don't think I've had like good friends ever. Well, that's not true, but I don't think I've had good friends since like middle school or since I was little. So it's nice to not only have good friends, but like good friends. Because when I was a kid, I didn't really think about who my friends are. I was just like, oh, they're cool. Yeah, I'll hang out with them. Now I think I'm more selective. Like I have a higher bar for friends, which sounds bizarre, but it's true. Like I have a high bar for who I want my friends to be. Like I don't want to be friends, or I don't want to be close friends with people who are like partying and drinking and smoking every single day of their lives. Like I want friends who are pursuing things, who have goals, who are trying to do things. And so I think I found that group of people. So that's pretty cool. And we'll see how things go. Either way, excited for this summer and what things have in store. But yeah, that's all part of the journey. I record these episodes completely free to share success with everyone. So the only thing I ask is that if you learned anything or found something interesting in this episode, just leave a review and share it with a friend. Only takes 5 seconds and it would mean the world. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next episode. Tatok, see you.